Hello everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me for episode 6 of the Complete Course Construction series. I guess this is the episode in which the illusion of that name pretty much completely disappears though, because as you might be able to see in the distance of this hole, I've built a green. I did do that on camera, but by the end of the video, by the end of the recording, I realised that my microphone hadn't been working at all, so it was dead silent and not all that interesting. So I'm just giving a flyover of the whole of what we've got so far. And I'll go into a bit more depth in what I'm thinking. But as you can see, off the tee, I'm quite happy with how this bunker's interacting. That was the view that we looked at in episode 5, and how it's going to impact both the 7th and the 12th greens. But the idea of this green, as you can see, obviously there's a fairly dramatic fall off to the right. And obviously we've got this diagonal carry, so the idea is that the closer to the water we get, the more risky the tee shot is, but we get a shorter distance into the green, and we're not coming down the slope so much, we're kind of coming across it, so we should have a bit of a better chance of sticking our approach, particularly if the pin's up back here. I think if we're coming in from a safe drive down the left, then we've got a really long shot to a fairly small landing area with a bit of a kicker slope in front of it. So yeah, I'm sorry that I've sort of skipped over building that green, but I hope you understand. I hope you can forgive me, and I hope it doesn't sort of ruin the enjoyment of the series too much. But I think on this episode, I'm going to consider ways to try and make this drive interesting. We've obviously already got the interest of this edge of the river, and we're trying to carry it. It's a substantially downhill, as you can see, 75 feet downhill, so we're carrying it a lot further than we would be on the flat. So even though it's 300 yards out there, we've got a pretty good chance of knocking it over, even at kind of a fairly aggressive angle, although knowing how I play after I've talked myself up like that, it's not always the best drive, but luckily, yeah, found dry land and can illustrate the point. Obviously, it's not going to run very far in the rough, but that's not the best drive in terms of kind of how aggressive we can be. And it's still only left a gap wedge in to the middle of the green. And I'm reasonably happy with how this looks, although I might raise up the landing area just a bit so that maybe we can see into that bunker, the greenside bunker here. And I think I mentioned in the previous episode as well, I'm considering whether to put a small bunker in here to sort of separate the two greens even further. I think that might look good from back on the tee. But in terms of fairway and landing area, I kind of want to offer something of an option down here to play the hole down this way, but I feel like well, obviously we're risking running into the water. Maybe I can offer that as a kind of, we could hit 3-wood into a fairly tight area down here. Driver's maybe going to run out into the water, especially this much downhill, and it's going to get fairly tight. I definitely want to offer the option of maybe playing up to at least here and having kind of the straight shot down the barrel of the green, but coming in from a fairly reasonable distance. So that's kind of one option. Obviously, the most aggressive option is to take on as much of the water as possible and come in from here. And then the further left we go off the tee, the more we're bailing out, the longer second shot we're being left with at a worse angle. So those are kind of the routes I see playing. I suppose if it was a real course, you could theoretically offer kind of a nice safe drive here and then a shot there and over, but that's not really worth considering in the game. No one's going to play this as a 3-shotter. So with that in mind, I guess maybe this line's the edge of the fairway, or a kind of idea of where the edge of the fairway is going to be. Can pretty much just continue up here. I think I want a nice large closely mown area around the green to kind of collect and maybe sort of shoot balls a bit further away from the green, and leave that awkward sort of not a pitch shot, but longer than a short little chip up the hill. Maybe offer some creative options as well, depending on where the pin is with this kind of tier as a backstop. Particularly going to be awkward if the pin's here and we're trying to run out this slope. So a lot of things to consider. I think I probably want to not have the fairway run all the way into that bunker, so I guess it's kind of going to have to follow the shape at kind of a short distance away. And I probably want to flatten this so that it's not kicked up awkwardly as well. I want this bit of land to be at the same height as the sand. Although obviously I do need to kind of tidy up the base of that bunker as well. So quite a lot on the to-do list. I'm not sure how much of it I'll get done in this episode, especially not with how much rambling has gone on to start. But probably going to have to look at maybe shifting that 8th tee somewhere slightly different, just to get it out of the way. If the fairway's coming all the way out here, although I suppose it could, depending on how it looks, it could come more in this way, but I still want to leave like all of this area out here open for like the really safe tee shot playing out that way. So I suppose I can get rid of these measure tools. I'll get rid of the 3-shotter as well, because that's not really a shot path, is it? I suppose I'll leave that one there. And this doesn't actually really indicate the edge of anything, does it? So then the fairway from the tee can come back pretty much as far as it wants, because it kind of doesn't matter. Maybe there's something going on here. Maybe I just need to be careful of what's going on with 15, so I guess I'll leave that bit for the time being. But yeah, this is certainly all going to be fairway down here at some kind of funky shape, possibly to add a bit of life, a bit of interest to the hole. And then down this right side, I more or less just want to kind of follow this line. Just a little bit of shape, a little bit of waviness. That's probably 20 yards is skinny. I suppose you could argue this may well be the best line in though, so I'm not sure I really want to encourage that drive too much. That could be kind of a thinking play or a really good option for a shorter driver if maybe you're only carrying it to here and you're not necessarily flying the water. I don't know if people are going to use that option or not, but I suppose offering it is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't hate if people want to think their way around and find a sort of superior option. It can be difficult in video game golf architecture to kind of present good options all around, because why would you take one over the other? I'm not really sure that's quite wide enough looking at it. I think it probably needs to come out sort of much wider, because no one is deliberately playing their ball over this side. They're using that for safety, I suppose, because as it currently stands, you've got just as much width up here. You've in fact got more width up there than you do down here, so you are more inclined to go even bigger. So looking at that, I suppose I take this portion of the fairway out here, which then probably means that comes in that way instead. And I'm conflicted by the idea of a centre line bunker. I'm not sure it needs it. I feel like I want something that's maybe like in the region of a run out hazard, somewhere in there perhaps. Whether that would add to the hole, or whether it would sort of make it a bit more awkward rather than improve it, because that obviously makes a very tight drive there. Kind of limits how much room there is out here unless I make the fairway even wider. But then I'm getting into the territory. If the fairway goes all the way out there, I'm kind of 100 yards wide. I know it's split by this creek in the middle, so it does make sense, but I think it kind of looks a little bit too much like a straight hole as well at the moment. I kind of want the dogleg there, but at the same time, I suppose if you're playing it down this side, and the more aggressive you're playing, the straighter the hole is, and it's only a dogleg if you're taking that safe route, so that doesn't necessarily seem like too much of a problem, if I really think about it. So I'm going to try the idea of chucking a bunker in there. And I'm not too worried that that's kind of breached the water plane, because, as I mentioned, I probably want to raise this landing area up. We're only kind of between 1 and 2 feet around above the height of the water anyway, so I think, I can kind of kick up the banks a little, smooth things out, and then let's just chuck down a sort of rough fairway spline so I can jump on the tee and see how things are looking. Nothing too fancy, just want an idea of what I'm working with and how the hole might play, and then come back in and tinker. It's something that I've found that it's better to put something down than nothing down, isn't it? You can edit a bad hole, you can tweak it, you can make it better, but if you've got nothing down, which I often find I can kind of get paralysed by just looking at what I'm working with. This really feels like I need to change the textures, and yeah, that section up in here probably needs to be bigger. Am I running out into that bunker? Is that bunker too far away? Well, I've missed it, but I would have just about run out into it. I'm not sure if it's adding anything though. Let's just jump back to the tee, and I mean, it's not sculpted at all, so difficult to tell. And it's not even shaped, is it? So, I did like the diagonal and the kind of interplay between the river and the bunker and the diagonal they were working at. I have slightly moved the tee, as you can see. There was this flattened tee box. I've dropped it slightly further back to kind of add to that, and I think that's flattened out the angle of the bunker and of the water a little. So, do I drop the tee back this way a touch more? That's something to consider. And yeah, I think looking at it, the further I open up this angle, I think that looks better. I think that's a more interesting. The dynamic between these diagonals, I think, is working better. I think I can take the fairway out even further and really open up how far left we're able to hit the drive. And we're sort of not really in danger of running out of fairway or anything in here. I guess maybe it all just runs into one giant fairway, or sort of closely mown area in here. But I think if I open up the drive from more this way, out here perhaps, then obviously I need to move this tee in a touch, and so that makes this a little more blind and kind of opens up the dogleg a little more as a bit more of a right to left hole. But I think that makes sense. I think I'm happy with doing that. So yeah, I'm going to drop this tee, move the waypoint across and drop it in just in here, I think, and I'm going to move this waypoint in there. And it's the kind of thing that I quite like when we have tee boxes or tees kind of on one tee box. I like the kind of confluence of the routing joining up and converging at a single point. So yeah, it's just a strange little kind of quirk that I like. Yeah. So how am I seeing this? I do think that this needs to be wider. I can almost sort of extend it all the way out from that bunker around here, anyway. I think how are we... I don't really feel like there's much of a need to take this on as it currently stands. I think sort of getting in here, we're coming in from this direction. I think it's a short enough hole that doesn't make too much of a difference. So I think, if anything, that bunker maybe actually takes away from the hole. Maybe not, because that's about as good a shot as I could hit. I think theoretically. And then sort of for all pin positions, I guess. I mean, might have to do something about that, because that's not really pinnable, is it? So maybe I have to expand that back portion of the green to be able to fit one in on this shelf and one in up here, one there and one there. So there's a lot to consider on this hole, and I think it's kind of demonstrates how the process isn't always exactly smooth sailing. It doesn't always just come together in one. There's a lot of tweaking and tinkering and so on. But if I bring the fairway kind of into the bunker here and flow it out round this way, out to this point here and sort of wider, what am I doing with the 8th tee? As a drivable par 4. I think, how long is 8? It's just over 300 yards. And I don't really want to drop the tee in anywhere else. We kind of... What if it went like that, and then I could have a grove of planting in there, and the fairway could come round like that, and then the planting can separate this tee box from this fairway. I think that probably makes as much sense as anything. I think what I'm trying to look at the bunker shape as well. I think I probably quite like just having a small sort of round bunker. Kind of these are little sort of pot bunkers, aren't they? Not as deep as some can be, but they're nice simple shapes to go with the big flat bottom ones. And yeah, like I said, maybe look at sort of adding to the back edge of the green, creating a bit more of an area in here that I'd have to flatten. I'd at least have to flatten that bit, I think. Although I suppose then that a pin back here is rewarding using more of the left of the fairway, but then we're coming in across the tier. So yeah, I think that makes sense. I think I can get on board with that. So I guess the next step is to add to the green, to sort of increase the surface that we're working with. Might have to just move this tee out of the way for the time being, so that the waypoint doesn't mess up the green grid, because that's something that can certainly be annoying. And I think I'm just going to flatten it. I don't mind having a runoff over the back and on the right side of the green, especially if we're kind of sort of defending against that shot coming in from the left of the fairway. I want that running away hard, potentially running off the back into a difficult up and down tough chip. I don't think I want too much of a slope across there, so I think I need to just keep raising, keep flattening at a slightly higher level. So yeah, I'm sorry that there's been a bit of a wait between episodes. I've had plenty going on, and it can be a little bit difficult to kind of just jump in and work on this and make the episodes interesting, especially I think the way I work is probably not actually, in hindsight, not best suited to this sort of format. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the idea of this course. I'm having fun working on it, and I'm really enjoying seeing some of the comments and hearing people sort of already excited to see where this project goes and see where we end up. So yeah, thank you for your patience and thank you for your support. I think I probably have to smooth that front portion out as well, don't I? That's a bit of an extreme slope, but maybe that works. Get rid of this and just see what green shape we're working with. Do I just try moving the spline points out and fudging it in rather than having to sketch an entirely new section of the green? And then I can increase the size of this sort of runoff area at the back as well. And maybe we're not too punishing for missing the green, because we'll be on the fairway. Will be a chance of an up and down. Yeah, I think that works. A bit of play testing might transpire that it's perhaps not quite what I'm looking for, but we're certainly running away sharply over the edge, so that needs a bit of fixing as well, doesn't it? To just kind of feather that in so that we're not sort of mowing the side of a mountain when the greenkeepers get out there. Always looking out for the green stuff. Yeah, still not quite right, is it? But I think I'm just gonna wind up the episode here once I've sketched in these couple of surfaces and see where the hole's looking. And if, as usual, if anyone's got any thoughts, anything that they'd like to see from this hole or from other holes on the course, anything that maybe they want me to discuss, anything you've seen that I haven't gone into enough depth on, or just questions in general, feel free to ask, feel free to get in touch, and I'll see what I can do. And hopefully this can be a project that everyone can get involved in and everyone can be excited for the end result. So we've got the green in there. Fairway's gonna follow round here more or less. So then I guess it comes in this way as well, doesn't it? I'm not too fussed about what's happening back here at the moment. That can be tied in later because I think that's going to be visually might be not important, but it's going to play on the 15th, isn't it? And then just a hair wider, I guess, to mean that I'm not sure if anyone's going to take this one on, but maybe if you're offered it as an option, people might consider it. And I'm not sure if the benefit is worth it. Well, I'm not sure if there is a benefit. It might be as much of a problem as it is a benefit. The more I think about it, the more I'm not sold on a bunker in here. I think that might be something I can come back to. And we'll see how the hole plays, particularly where various pin positions come into play. I think I quite like the bunker there, so that's probably how the hole's going to look. That's how I'm going to leave it for now. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you're looking forward to the next one, please hit subscribe. Please make sure you like the video, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, bye for now.